Hi everybody, Dr. Nigel Giam here, GP Training Programme Director for the St Mary's Scheme and Course Director for MentorMRCGP courses. So we're going to continue with my CSA Strategic Bite-Sized podcasts. And today we're going to be looking at the following competencies. So the first one is Competency 3, which is poor time management. Competency 4, which is not identifying abnormal findings, results, or failing to recognise their implications. And Competency 5, not undertaking a physical examination competently or using instruments proficiently. So, why is it that people run out of time in the CSA? Well, what's clear, having taught for many years across this exam, is that if you follow your own agenda, if you make it diagnostic, if you don't stay close to the patient agenda, you're going to run out of time. So, Competency 3 and 2 actually stay quite close together. If you listen to the narrative, if you stay close to the agenda, if you react to cues, you're going to manage your time much more effectively. But in the same instance, it's very important, if you remember from our first podcast, that you maintain your organization. And organization is about reactivity. It's about having a story, symptom, system approach. And now if we start looking at the system, that's where your Competency 4 is coming in, data gathering. Because within that system of an undifferentiated complaint, what we're really interested in are the red flags. Now, some of these red flag questions are going to make sense to patients, and you have to have them on the tip of your tongue. If a patient's coming in with chest pain, you recognize it's the cardiovascular system that you're interested in, you need to be asking the appropriate red flag questions, be this shortness of breath, be this palpitations, be this nausea, vomiting, sweatiness. And some of these questions will be logical to a patient. However, for example, if a patient came in with back pain and you're now interested in bladder or bowel disturbance, simply saying to a patient, let me ask you some questions about your back, and then suddenly jumping to your bowels is not going to make sense to a patient. And in a CSA, that might be questioned. And if it's questioned, you're going to run out of time. So signposting is really important. Signposting to share your thought processes, keep your questions in context, reactive to the system, is going to help save you time. There might be very sensitive systems at hand. Sexual health, for example, very topical in this exam, but it could come in as a pyrexia of unknown origin, a rash, an undifferentiated joint pain, even a pair of red eyes. How are you going to get from that symptom into a very sensitive system? So signposting is key. And this now leads us on to Competency 5, which is the physical examination. So recognize at this point you've identified the system. There is no such thing as a general examination in the CSA, because at this point it has to be focused on the system at hand. So you need to practice your focused physical examinations, be it cardiovascular, eyes, ears, joints, with your colleagues. Strategically, the best thing to do is verbalize to the patient what you're going to do, and then just get on and do it. Don't look to the examiner for any help here. If you've done enough in your physical examination, the results will come. So for example, in joints, the examiner wants to hear 3 things: look, feel, move. If someone comes in with an eye complaint, don't assume both eyes are affected. Find out if it's one or the other. Think about their acuity, think about their eye movements, think about their field of vision before you necessarily pick up the ophthalmoscope with regards to fundoscopy. So this is absolutely key. Now, if we start looking at Competency 4 in the context of not recognizing abnormal results or their implications, this will often come in through the door as a follow-up. Now, if a patient in the CSA is coming in to see you as a follow-up, the opening statement is often just that. I'm a follow-up here. I need to have my results. I saw one of your GPs. I want to have my results. So that's the agenda, and you need to stay close to that. Now, recognize the analogy. This is a journey from point A to point B. It's a car journey, and you're coming into the journey a little bit later. So it's obviously important to understand what's happened up until that point, but you didn't start off from point A. In the same instance, the patient is going to want to have their results sooner rather than later. So strategically, there are a few questions that I would be asking to get this balance just right, and I've highlighted these in the slide. So after your introduction, find out what led the patient to have this test. Find out what was discussed with the last GP. Think about whether the patient has any idea as to what tests were ordered. And you can ask if any particular thoughts or concerns were raised during the discussion with the last GP as to what was going on. But at that point, what you want to be doing is delivering the results. I have your results here, Mr. Smith. Deliver the results, and then what I might need to do is ask you a few questions after I've given you the results, just to put it all into context for you. So in this way, you stay close to the agenda, you address the patient's agenda, and you don't say to the patient, well, I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about that later. Because in the CSA, there is no later. So ensure that you stay close to the narrative, to the patient agenda, react to it, address it, and time will manage itself. Okay, so that's it for this one. I hope you found it useful. Do check the website, www.passmrcgp.com, Facebook and Twitter. Hope to see you on one of the courses. Over and out for now.